Login accepted.
Hi. Fail fast, move forward. Incidents are a new normal. They're part of development process. And aware of that, we come prepared. We are seeing more and more software released to Canary first. Feature flag adoption is growing. Monitoring and observability are our eyes and ears into turbulent reality of production. We are using also A/B testing to support our decision. So we know that things are going to fail. The only question is when. Maybe we will get notification about critical incident on a really important date. Maybe it will happen in the middle of night. I took this picture when my partner had 24 hours on call, and as you can see, he's not there. So as long as it's happened rarely, it is okay. But what if happens often? What if you feel like you are playing whack-a-mole, fixing one problem and seeing another similar a few days later? Is this game worth playing? I don't think so. So let's assume that my team released change to production that caused incident which affected a lot of our customers. Or maybe my team by accident deleted all virtual machines deployed on Azure that caused that we lost almost all our test environments. Or maybe we released some feature that now is misused by our users and we have some security problems. So what should I do to learn something from those situations? What we can do to make sure that this will not happen again? You want to conduct blameless incident review. Play the ball, not the player. Because the goal of incident review isn't to point fingers, because we are having incidents, because we are successful. We have software that is running on production. We have real customers and paying users. And the reality is that sooner or later, we are going to have incidents. And we can't avoid that. So we need to be prepared. My name is Kasia Szulc. I work as product manager at Dynatrace. And I'm experienced incident facilitator. And I gather my experience in really various products, both server deployed, cloud deployed, large organizations, small startups. And in this presentation, I'm going to show you my recipe for the incident review. So some organizations use the postmortem, but I will stick to the incident review because postmortem means occurring after death. And it doesn't fit into our system and the majority of cases. Because in majority of cases, our business or product will survive the single incident. It will be still alive. And I really believe that we should normalize learning from the incidents. And we have KPI review, design review, code review, so we can have also incident review. The first step is invite facilitator, or sometimes become facilitator. And facilitator from outside of your team brings a fresh perspective. This perspective is important because during incident, people do what makes sense to them at given time, given their experience, familiarity with tool and processes, and also their understanding of current situation. And facilitator who doesn't know what are the norms, what are procedures, helps discover and understand how team perceived their world at the time of incident. Next, during this meeting, the first step is to build the context of the incident by connecting all perspectives together. So perspective the software engineers, support engineers, SREs, maybe quality engineers, or maybe even product managers or people who communicated this issue externally. And we are doing this by building the timeline of the incident. So gather all facts or events, information about what systems were affected, and everything else related to the incident. Identify cause and effect relationship and arrange them chronologically. So it's a good idea to use additional data that help construct this timeline, like chat transcription, dashboard, or maybe logs that people observed during the incident. And timeline will be our foundation of incident review because it builds common understanding how our organization behaved before, during, and after incident. The draft of timeline is created usually by incident facilitator, but later all participants collaborate and add their relevant information. So if you work on a really small project or with like less complex, you can just grab post-its and markers, or maybe use virtual boards like Miro, and together with your team note down all the events. But if you work on complex product, use a tool which generates a timeline from infrastructure perspective first. And this is the screen from our tool, Dynatrace. This is a screen from incident analysis. And it's a good idea to use it as a base and later add human layer with stick notes into it. And those discussions over the incidents are a great opportunity to discover stories hidden behind the incident. And the question you ask are the key to encouraging discussions and making people comfortable. The best facilitators encourage conversation through open-ended questions. So don't ask, Marcin, could you tell me when did you discover that this service is down? Instead of this, ask about how did you notice that something is broken. And when you are facilitating, it is important to look for descriptions, not explanations. And on the incident review, we don't talk only about things that led to the incident, but we want to also understand how things are usually going. So most of the times, our systems, our product work fine, and we are prepared to fail. Because we are using canary releases, feature flags, we test our solution before pushing into production. We are also dogfooding our solution. And it is important to talk and share what we are doing to make our system more bulletproof. And we want to share all those innovations and good practices beyond our team, or in some cases, even beyond our product. And when our timeline is done, we can start looking for causal factors. And causal factors are events or actions, or sometimes lack thereof, which led to the incident or worsened its effect. And they are either always or partially present in our process. And incident is just the first point in time where they combined into a perfect storm. And causal factors alone, they don't cause big incidents. Not enough time for testing, not enough detailed monitoring. Those are examples of really common causal factors. And suggesting that those are key to understanding incidents is just misleading. Because we need to go deeper and find root causes. And root causes are everything that allowed the mistake to happen and to be ignored. The easiest way to find roots is to start with causal factors and go deeper with 5 whys or 5 hows technique. So let's imagine that engineers detected a problem. They performed rollback from production, and rollback didn't help, and they ended breaking stuff even more. So when you ask them why they tried the rollback, they will tell you the story behind procedure in case where the whole production is down. They describe sources of pressure, how they coordinated on-call, and we can gather all those information about what actually happened and what conditions allow it. So let's use a real-life example. This is one causal factors from our past incident, and we had the situation where log database hanged a service. So we can ask why database was logged. Because database was under heavy write load. Why database was under heavy write load? Because nothing cut the extra load. And why nothing cut the extra load? Because we didn't expect the database to ever be compromised. And why we didn't expect the database can be compromised? Because we never done any stress test to find the limits. And why we didn't test it? Because our process doesn't require service owners to think about capacity and fallback. And as I said, that was one causal factors for the one incident. Because reality is that single root cause of incident doesn't exist, or it's pretty really rare. And our systems can be made of many parts that in isolation, they work perfectly. And still, incident could happen as a result of weird interactions between the working parts, either software, hardware, people, or maybe all of them. And we are making our system relatively safe from single point of failure. But often, serious incidents resemble a perfect storm where many bad events happen at the same time and making the whole situation even worse. So successfully minimizing consequences, and we don't increase our success by trying to prevent things from going wrong. We do it by making sure that things go right. And quality and reliability are business concerns. So each time when we face the incident, we need to think about, can we handle the same incident twice? It is important to remember that implementing actions doesn't give us any warranty that our software won't fail in the future. And that's why we monitor our actions and we check them, does they work or what impact they have on our development process. But in the real world, is that the problem is that defining actions are optional. In the past, I really believed that each incident review should finish with defining actions that will prevent all the occurrence of the incidents in the future. But the reality is that sometimes it is better to decide that we don't want to implement any actions than declare them and ignore them. There might be different reasons why we can't implement any actions. For example, maybe we are a smart startup and we are focused on increasing revenue and we don't have additional budget to introduce some changes. Or maybe our incident was caused by a technical problem with cloud vendors, and we cannot resign from using public clouds. Or maybe we can't afford for redundancy of some service. But there is one mandatory action. Share your learnings. If you learn something new from the incident, share it. Create Jira issue with description, write a blog post, organize a brown bag session, or just tell someone. And teaching is an incredible way of ensuring that you really understand the situation of your product. And building a learning organization is a real way to be proactive. That's how you actually prevent the incidents. And your systems are failing, and incidents are new normal. But it doesn't mean that having constantly broken production is normal. And we should build our software with quality and reliability in our mind. But in modern product, where things change rapidly, failure is inevitable, and we strive to reduce the number of incidents of similar cause and await for unique problems. And anyone who says that failure is not an option either is ignorant or arrogant of complexity of software development. And failure is an option because we don't get to choose to fail. It's going to happen. And if we were trying to prevent all failures, we would never move forward and we would miss a lot of learnings. And a lot of knowledge about our systems come from failures. And I said by Winston Churchill, never waste good crisis. And we should also never waste a good incident to improve our organization, product, or team. Because we need reliability, and we must our system to changes. And learning from gaps highlighted by incidents can guide us in the direction in which our system should evolve. So thank you. If you have any question, we can talk after presentation, or you can ask them now, or we can talk on our booth.